Well, hello and welcome to another hardcore Nuzlocke. Today we go back to our normal type run in HeartGold. We defeated all of Johto and the Elite Four last time. Today I want to go through the entirety of Kanto and see if we can beat Red atop Mount Silver with our team of normal types. Now, unfortunately, at the end of the last run when we were fighting Lance, we did have a death. So we have one death, it's in the box, and that's too bad because after the end of the game, we can actually go get a shiny stone to evolve Togetic into Togekiss. Yeah. So anyway, I want to grab up another Pokemon and go check out some other encounters that I know we can get. I went back to Route 33 to get a Apom. Last time we caught it in Azalea and it wasn't a viable encounter. This one is going to have Technician and I want to use Ambipom. The other encounter that I had in mind was actually an Ursaring. The Nuzlocke tracker said we could get it in Victory Road, and that's not true. We actually can't get it in HeartGold. You can only get that encounter in Soul Silver, so we're going to have to make do with what we've got. After that, it's time to get on the boat, the SS Aqua, and head to Vermillion City. The nostalgia is definitely at full capacity. I remember playing this game when I was a young adult, and heading back to Vermillion in the original Gold and Silver was such a nostalgic thing for us. Even in this game, it's still very nostalgic to come back to the original games years later. I'm excited to do this run. Since we're in Vermillion, I'm going to take on Lieutenant Surge. There is an actual list or order to take these gym leaders on. Janine is the lowest level cap at level 50, then Lieutenant Surge with 53. Misty and Brock are tied for 3rd and 4th place with a level cap of 54. Sabrina has a level cap of 55. Erica is 56. Blaine is level 59 and Blue is level 60. So that is where or how we are going to do these gym leaders. I'm doing them a bit out of order because as you can see, Lieutenant Surge is going to be easy. Raichu tried to set up double team strats. We broke through the evasiveness to one-shot it with an Earthquake. Electabuzz opted to go for Light Screen instead of Low Kick, and we one-shot it with an Earthquake. Out comes his first Electrode, who gets off a Charge Beam. The special attack buff does not matter. A single Earthquake takes it out. The second Electrode once again outspeeds us, goes for a double team, but again, we do not care about evasiveness because an Earthquake one-shots it. And last but not least is Magneton, who is quad weak to Earthquake. It does try to set up a double team, but one single Earthquake takes it out, winning us our first Kanto badge. Next up is Janine, and things could have gone better, but here is the battle. She sends out Crobat, and I lead with Sleep. There is a Supersonic miss, and we hit it with a pretty nasty Ice Fang. Supersonic connects on the next turn, and of course we hurt ourselves in that confusion. We get hit with a weak wing attack, and we break through confusion to hit Ice Fang for a KO. Out comes Wheezing, and I decided to go for Charm. I couldn't remember if Sludge Bomb is physical or not. It's not. So we get hit with a Sludge Bomb and decide to swap into Breakfast. On the swap in, Breakfast does get hit with a Sludge Bomb and gets poisoned, of course. We get outsped and hit with another Sludge Bomb and get off a fairly weak Flamethrower. I don't want to lose Breakfast, so I swap into Sweep, who gets hit with a Sludge Bomb on the swap in. We hit a Body Slam and get hit with another Sludge Bomb, and both of us are at fairly low health. Janine goes for a full restore, so I go for Milk Drink, bringing me back almost up to full HP. We go for Body Slam again and get the Paralysis. Wheezing just goes for Toxic. We hit it with another Body Slam, and there is a full Paralysis, so a final Body Slam does KO it. This Wheezing was a pain. Out comes Venomoth, so I decide to swap in Work. Work comes in while Venomoth is setting up a double team. I now have a Flame Orb on Work because we went to the Battle Frontier, and that activates. We go for Facade, but it does miss. Venomoth continues to set up a double team, and the next Facade hits, KOing the Venomoth. I cannot remember the math on this, but I'm pretty sure that we have a base 315 power facade. Out comes Ariados, and we get a one-shot with facade. Out comes Janine's last Ariados, and we one-shot it with a facade as well. We won this one in the end, but our team was pretty well wiped by the time we got halfway through it. We need to have a better plan and a better strategy. So there is a little bit of a Kanto story here in the game. Somebody stole a part from this generator, rendering it useless, and that's why we couldn't just jump on the train from Goldenrod to Saffron. I understand the storyline, but as a real-life electrician, what is going on here is not a real thing. However, we do intervene and get the part back to the guy. He puts it in the control panel, and all of a sudden the generator starts working. If somebody had pulled something out of this control panel, it would have been a readily available part. But nonetheless, we do get the Charge Beam TM, and we can make our way to Misty. Before we do that, I decide to buy the Porygon in Celadon City. We did get it at a level 15, and we have been working on training it. I did get the upgrade at the Sylph Company in Saffron and evolve this thing into Porygon 2. Its name is Shower. It has a lonely plus attack minus defense nature. This is going to be a good Pokemon on the team going forward. Getting our hands on Porygon and getting our hands on Charge Beam is the strategy going forward to Misty. However, her Golduck does like to use Disable. So for the first turn, I go for Tri-Attack. We do get outsped and hit with a Water Pulse. Our Tri-Attack does almost half damage, and there it is. Golduck goes for Disable. Nice. I use Charge Beam. We do get the special attack boost, but it's not enough to take out the Golduck, so next turn, Misty uses a full restore. I go for Charge Beam again, this time doing about half. Water Pulse hits, we do not get confused, and another Charge Beam KOs the Golduck. We do get a special attack boost on that, so we are at +2 special attack. Lapras comes out. I decide to go for Recover. We get hit with a fairly weak Ice Beam, and we hit it with a Charge Beam that doesn't quite do half. Lapras then, of course, hits us with Sing. Why wouldn't it? I stay asleep the next turn and get hit with another Ice Beam. Luckily for us, we don't stay asleep long and wake up to hit a Charge Beam to a sliver of health as Lapras gets off an Ice Beam. At this point, we're pretty low health, so I go for Recover, and we get hit with a Water Pulse. I go for one more Recover, which takes us to full HP, and we get hit with a fairly weak Ice Beam. One more Charge Beam takes out the Lapras, and we do get the special attack boost, bringing us to +3 special attack. Out comes Starmie, and this thing outspeeds us and hits us with a Confuse Ray, which is annoying. Luckily for us, we break through Confusion and one-shot it with a single Charge Beam. That +3 special attack definitely helping out tenfold. Last but not least for Misty is Quagsire. We do outspeed it, however we hurt ourselves in Confusion. Quagsire just decides to set up Rain Dance. Next turn, we hurt ourselves in Confusion again, and this time Quagsire goes for Amnesia, which is annoying. We do break through Confusion to hit a Tri-Attack, and we manage to one-shot the Quagsire. Even with a +2 to special attack, our +3 was enough to win. Technically +1 to special attack, but Porygon has a huge special attack stat. After the generator stuff and the Misty stuff, we can come back to Lavender Town and get the upgrade to our Pokegear radio, allowing us to get the Pokeflute to get to Pewter. The Snorlax is just outside Vermillion, blocking the entrance to Diglett Cave, and if I can find where the Pokemon Flute radio station is, I bumped it, there it is. I think we just back out of this. Should wake up the Snorlax, and we are going to catch this thing. I think this is the last encounter that we're going to get. Unfortunately for us, I forgot to buy Pokeballs, so the only thing I have was a Master Ball to catch this thing. It was level 50, it has the leftovers, it has a Brave plus attack minus speed nature, which is nice. I named it Nap, very fitting. This thing's a beast, you guys know. You guys already know it outclasses most of the other single stage evolution Pokemon. Even some of the evolved Pokemon have a lower attack stat. There is one more encounter I want to grab at this headbutt tree right here. If you headbutt it enough times, eventually a Starly will come out. There was a bunch of Wurmple before this. We caught this thing at level 8. It does have a lax plus defense, a minus special defense nature. Starly is going to be a great addition to the team and eventually have Intimidate. So between it and Sleep, I think we can do some double Intimidate strats and really round out the team. The strategy for Brock is using our newfound Snorlax with the Brick Break TM and hope that we can do some serious damage. Graveler goes for Defense Curl first turn, and I go for Brick Break, doing well over half damage. Now, we do have the Choice Band on Snorlax here instead of the Leftovers, because we got our hands on one of those. That boosts our attack, but we can only use one attack. Graveler goes for a second Defense Curl, and Brick Break is just enough to KO it with the Choice Band. Out comes Rhyhorn. It does outspeed and get off an Earthquake that doesn't do a whole heck of a lot of damage. We go for Brick Break that drops it deep into the red, and Brock goes for a full restore. We hit another Brick Break and get a lower roll this time, but Rhyhorn just goes for Sandstorm, so another Brick Break KOs it. Out comes Onix. Onix misses a Rock Slide, and we hit it with a Brick Break to just under half. A Citrus Berry heals it to the point where I don't think a second Brick Break will kill it. We do get hit with a Rock Slide and go for Brick Break, and it does KO, albeit with a crit. Nice. Out comes Kabutops, and I decide to swap into Sleep for the Intimidate drop because most of Kabutops' moves are physical. We get hit with a Rock Slide on the swap, and I decide to stay in and go for Charm. We get outsped and hit with a Rock Slide, but get off a Charm. Now Kabutops is -3 attack. I decide to pivot through Dust on another Rock Slide to get just one more Intimidate. I don't want a lot of damage done to Breakfast as we swap him in. We do get hit with a Rock Slide on the swap and get off a nasty Thunderbolt. Kabutops goes for Rock Slide again. I decide to go for a final Thunderbolt, but Kabutops has Endure, and it does endure our hit to 1 HP. We do get a Paralysis with the Thunderbolt, but Brock uses another full restore. I hit a Thunderbolt to well over half, and Kabutops goes for Endure again, but it fails. A final Thunderbolt KOs the Kabutops. What a battle. I wanted Breakfast at a higher HP because last but not least is Omastar. We hit a Thunderbolt for just over half, and he hits us with Brine. Brine will do more damage if you're below half health. However, Brine does a significant amount of damage because it crit. We survive. I know we can outspeed because we have the Choice Scarf equipped, so one final Thunderbolt KOs the Omastar. The strategy for Sabrina is to use the same Pokemon but a different move. I know Snorlax is slow, but it is bulky. It does have Crunch, which is physical in this game after the physical special split. All of her Pokemon are going to outspeed us, but I think we can survive. Espeon just goes for a Calm Mind. Our Crunch does one-shot the Espeon. Out next is Mr. Mime, and Mr. Mime elects to set up a light screen instead of a reflect, so a single Crunch takes it out. Last but not least is her trusty Alakazam, who's fast and hit hard. It hits us for a third of our health with a Psychic, but a single Crunch is enough to one-shot it. That is a 1-2-3 sweep with Nap against Sabrina. For Erica, decide to use Dust. Dust is probably going to be able to one-shot her entire team. The only difference between this and the last battle is Dust is a heck of a lot more speedy. Out comes Jumpluff for Erica. We get off an Intimidate, but that doesn't matter. We outspeed and one-shot with an Aerial Ace. I do have Brave Bird, but I don't want to take the recoil damage. Out next is Tangela. We outspeed it and one-shot it with an Aerial Ace. Next up is a Victory Bell. We outshot it. We outspeed it and one-shot it with an Aerial Ace. I'm leaving that in. Last but not least, instead of Vileplume is Bellossom, and we outspeed this thing and hit it with an aerial ace to one-shot it as well. That is 2 gyms back-to-back that have been fairly easy. By far, one of my most favorite things in this game is the addition of Viridian Forest. If you played the original Gold, Silver, or Crystal, the limitations of the Game Boy at the time didn't allow for them to put this forest in, and we had to just walk through a path. It kind of sucked, but I understand. It's just nice to travel through one of the first areas that you go through in Kanto, and an area I have spent a lot of time training in. Continuing south to Cinnabar runs us into a very familiar face with Blue. I'm probably going to mistakenly call him Gary. He's talking about Cinnabar Island getting engulfed in a eruption of a volcano and wants to battle a strong trainer once we've proven ourselves, meaning we have to go beat Blaine and get all of the other 7 badges. For Blaine here, we're going to go back to sleep. I don't have a water type back to sleep. That's stupid. I don't have a water type or a Pokemon that can learn a good water type move, so sleep is going to use Earthquake and hopefully sweep the team. I don't think I can outspeed the Magmar or the Rapidash, so I did put the Choice Scarf on to gain us a little bit of speed. Magcargo is 4 times weak to Earthquake, so it does go down in a single Earthquake. Magmar comes out, and it does like to go for Confuse Ray, but luckily the Choice Scarf does allow us to outspeed this, and a single Earthquake is enough to take this Pokemon down. Last but not least is Rapidash. It's crazy to me that Blaine doesn't have his Arcanine. However, Rapidash does outspeed us and hit us with Flare Blitz, which does over half damage, and had that been a crit, it would have one-shot us. That is insane. But the subsequent Earthquake is enough to take out the Rapidash. I don't know if the recoil damage was needed or not, but that's Blaine defeated. 7 gyms down and no deaths. Challenge accepted, Blue. Let's go. The plan for Gary is rather simple. We're going to lead with work, we're going to set up a swords dance, and we're going to facade our way to victory. Ride-on might be a whole different story, but against the Executor we can set up a swords dance, which is going to help with the 2 Intimidates from Arcanine and Gyarados. Leaf Storm misses us, and a single facade KOs the Executor. Out comes Machamp, and Machamp can do some serious damage to us, but we outspeed in one shot with a single facade. Out comes Arcanine, and we soak up the Intimidate to bring us to +1 attack, and a facade does one-shot the Arcanine. Rhydon comes out, and we don't quite do half damage with facade, and we get hit with a Stone Edge that actually KOs Work. And Work has been on the team since the very beginning. This is our official starter, and I cannot believe that we just got fainted. On the swap-in screen here, I actually stood here for 5 minutes of real time, flabbergasted at what just happened. Work has been an invaluable member of the team, been with me across 2 different regions, fought in so many battles, and was very pivotal throughout. I don't know how to go forward, but we must go forward, and we will shed a tear for our fallen friend later. I swap in Breakfast to get the KO with an Ice Beam on the Rhydon, and out comes Gyarados. We soak up the Intimidate and swap in Sleep for an Intimidate of our own. Gyarados just goes for Dragon Dance. It does outspeed us next turn to hit us with a Waterfall, but a quad super effective Thunderfang KOs it. Out comes Pidgeot and hits us with Return down to 36 HP. We do hit it with an Ice Fang to low yellow health. However, a Citrus Berry brings it back up to around half, and I have to swap, so I swap into Dust on an Air Slash. We're going to try to get off a couple of Intimidates here, so I swap Nap in on an Air Slash, I swap Dust back in on a weak return, and I finally swap in Breakfast on an Air Slash. We get outsped and hit with an Air Slash on the next turn, and we hit Ice Beam to a sliver of HP, and of course Gary has some full restores in his pocket, So we hit another Ice Beam, get hit with Air Slash to low HP, and I'm forced to swap again. I decide to swap in Shower, who gets hit with a weak Air Slash. We get hit with an Air Slash again, and we get off a Charge Beam that does boost our special attack. There is another full restore. We go for Charge Beam again, and Pidgeot goes for Mirror Move, which, of course, gets the special attack raise. However, a final Charge Beam gets a high roll, and we finally KO the Pidgeot, winning us the battle against Gary, but of course we had one death. With our head held low and our spirits at an all-time low, Professor Oak does give us the HM for Rock Climb, since we beat all of the Kanto gyms, and does open the path forward to Mount Silver, where we can take on the Ultimate Trainer Red. We can do some serious training as well, and we're going to need to find a way to lift our spirits with losing work in the last battle. I need to devise a strategy and plan out my team, so let's get started. With the HM for Rock Slide on our person, we can head back to Mount Mortar and climb up this rocky path here to get ourselves a very nice item to evolve Shower into Porygon Z. The dubious disc sits over here. You actually surf past this thing a few times. Evolution time. So after some thinking and some training, this is the team we're going with. Sleep, the Snubbull with Earthquake, Crunch, Thunderfang, and Ice Fang. We're going to go with Dust, the Star Raptor with the Shell Bell, Double Team, Brave Bird, Close Combat, and Aerial Ace. We have Breakfast with Flamethrower, Roost, Thunderbolt, and Ice Beam. We have Porygon Z with Charge Beam, Toxic, Tri-Attack, and Recover. We have our very own Snorlax with Brick Break, Rollout, Crunch, and Rock Climb. And of last but not least is our Technician, Ambipom with Cut, Tickle, Fury Swipes, and Aerial Ace. Luckily for us, the only HM we need to get to Red is Rock Climb, so I don't need to bring an HM on with us. This is the team. The battle on top of Mount Silver is infamous. It's notoriously hard, it's well known, and for those of you that ever made it here at the original games, were shocked and excited all in the same time. He has a very strong team, very diverse team, and let's see if we are the ultimate trainer and can beat him. His Pikachu has a Light Ball, so the Thunderbolt that we get hit with does an extreme amount of damage, dropping us to 116 HP. It doesn't crit, so it doesn't KO, and a subsequent Earthquake manages to take it out. Blastoise comes in next with Focus Blast, and I know it can miss, but I also know that nothing I swap in will survive 2 Focus Blasts. Of course, Focus Blast hits and it KOs Sleep. I swap in Shower, who gets off a Charge Beam, which gets us the special attack buff. We do get hit with Focus Blast again to 111 HP. The special attack buff was much needed. The hail damage also helps. Charge Beam KOs the Blastoise on the next turn. Out comes Snorlax. I go for Recover. I'm thinking about getting off a Toxic, but Crunch drops our defense, so I swap. I swap in Dust to get an Intimidate off, and we get hit with a weak Crunch. I know that Snorlax is going to go for Blizzard, so I swap in Nap. On a Blizzard, I decide to swap Dust in again for one more Intimidate, but we get hit with a Blizzard to 23 HP. The Hail knocks us down to 8 HP, so I decide to go for a Close Combat, and we knock out the Snorlax. Shell Bell then heals us to 43 HP, while the Hail knocks us back down to 28 HP. Lapras comes out, and I decide at this point there's nothing to do. If I swap out Dust and bring it back in, it's going to die, so I get off a Close Combat that drops this thing dangerously low in the red health, but not enough to KO it, and after all things are said and done, Brine finishes off Dust. I swap in Breakfast on a full restore. We get off 2 back-to-back Thunderbolts, and get hit with a Blizzard down to 127 HP. One final Thunderbolt KOs the Lapras. Out comes Venusaur, so I need to swap out because Thunderbolt's not going to do much damage. I swap into Vacuum, who gets hit with a Sludge Bomb, and of course we get poisoned on the swap, so there's nothing else I can do. I go for Cut, which does almost half damage. and a Sludge Bomb KOs us. Our team is getting wrecked. I do swap a Breakfast in, and a Flamethrower KOs the Venusaur. Out comes Charizard. I decide to stay in and let Breakfast go. A Flare Blitz does KO Breakfast. All I have left is Shower and Nap, so I swap in Nap, get hit with a Flare Blitz, and go for Rollout. Rollout knocks Charizard deep into the red. Hail's not enough to KO it, so red goes for a full restore. Our next rollout misses. Had it not, it would have KO'd. And luckily for us, our leftovers is healing what the hail is doing. I'm leaving that in. I've done this take 17 times now. We get hit with another Flare Blitz. Rollout drops this thing low again. Red goes for another full restore. But a second rollout hits, and it is enough to take out the Charizard, winning us the battle, winning us the run. Our team is decimated, but we did beat Red. That is such an iconic battle, and the reason I wanted to do this second half of the run is I love the Kanto stuff. I know the gym leaders are relatively easy. They did change that here in HeartGold and Soul Silver to make them just a little bit more challenging. And Brock and Misty were actually quite difficult battles. Even Janine gave us a little bit of a run for our money. However, Gary and Red, or Blue and Red rather, are the two difficult trainers, and we lost Pokemon in both of those battles. Super excited to finish out this run, and the next run I have planned, I'm so hyped for. It's going to be so difficult. You guys are just going to have to wait and see it. It is a Fire Red run, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. I want to get this thing done and up so I can start that run here very soon. So enough of my babbling. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the next run.